Right, we should be live. Please tell me you can hear me and see me. We've had some technical issues with the weather's a bit rough out and everything's been flicking. And I don't know if I'm being seen or heard. So just give me a thumbs up or whatever you want to say about you can see me or hear me. I've got a little thing here on the side so I can see it a bit quicker because StreamYard is lagging. Mr. Marmite, hello. So, ahoy, that is Dean. Yep, I think people can hear me. You've not said so, you just done symbols, but hey, what can we do? Come on. Nanu, yeah, I'll take that as you can hear me. So, guys, I've not done a live on my channel in 6 months. It feels like forever. I've done a few little shows on London McLovin's channel, but I've not done one in a while on my own channel, and I've not even really done a thoughts. I've just been, how can we say it, with the community as a whole, I'm disappointed. You know what I mean? And I just have to do my thing because I just love internet walking. Mine is today, so hopefully not everyone can hear me. But yeah, things have been playing up. We've got a storm in. I don't know what name they've given it. I've got a few things I want to show you, but I need your guys' help as well. I need you to ask any questions that you've wanted to ask, and I'll give you my honest opinion as always. Just drinking my herbal tea. So I'll let people build it up. It's been a while, so I've not done too bad. 30 odd people in the house. We've got Esther Malone in, Mr. Marmite, Dean HD, Rhonda Isa, Paul McGill, Will Brennan, Den, just JP, Corin Shea. How you pronounce it? Docson Deep Woo. My eyes are going so much worse. I know we're still going on about Suits, talking about an egg and his hot chocolate. That's what I'm going to take away from today. Twinks in the house. Experiment elemental. Said weird when you've not done these things for a while. 6-year anniversary. Don't know how long I've been on here. I might even be a tiny bit longer than that. Evening, Kino Platy. So, guys, I want to go through a few things. Then I said I opened the door to Janice. Well, I hope so. I hope so. Some of you are listening. JJ Recon. You know what I mean? I try just to be objective because I do get very excitable on certain topics. I do. I won't lie. And I get really excited. And I just want to share that. I just don't know why people don't want to research it. You know, social media has pinned me as spam this week. I've been blocked from a lot of places because people don't want to hear it. You know, the same people who like to say I'm woke and all that stuff. And these are some of the things we're going to get into tonight. People are not as woke as they think they are. It's crazy. That's why I always call it a community, because it's just a very few of us who are willing to talk about anything, you know, and share our thoughts. Because what don't people miss? You know, it's just like being amongst friends, sitting there, just chilling, saying, what this? And then your mad friend says, oh, what about this? What about this? And you're like, they're mental. And then you think about it, and it's like, I can see your point of view. And these sort of things that we don't just do enough. So I'm just going to get some questions from you. We'll go through your things that I want to share and elaborate on. But yeah, some just don't want to know. They're not curious anymore. I think that. And when I did Mr. Rasta, that video not long ago, sometimes it is clickbaity. And I will admit I'm not the best at doing that. I can't do it. And I try and make the titles of my videos to show that something's in the video regarding that. And when I was on about release the Wiccan, people just don't understand all this talk that we have of people saying we're woke, we're the Great Awakening. It's all tied to spellcraft and Wiccan, being a witch, a wizard, because we cast spells. So it would make sense, wouldn't it, that everything is tied to this ethos in this enclosed realm. So I've got Diane's in the house, Chicky Rogue. I will click. So guys, just fly in any questions you have. I'll try and get to them, as well as showing you a few things. Just let the build up. People are like, oh, Blacksheep, that's another thing, you know, because I've changed me image, like, to the spin-off of Marmite, because obviously some people like it, some people don't. And I've been saying that in my posts and videos. I've on it a lot, and I thought, you know what, I just fancy a little change. And let's get that in. People, yeah, they are programmed. We're all programmed to a degree, because that's how our mind works, isn't it? To a degree, like a computer of sorts. And I try and be objective as much as cannot, as much as it's possible, but I don't ram it down people's throats. I just see people's opinions on things and think, hey, have you seen it? If you look through this type of aspect, how you might come across it, and no, bang, you spam. You just want to know, and you want to say the same old rhetoric. And I'm not going in on anyone in the community, because I don't want to tar people with the same brush, because we all get it. And that video that I not long done, really, I just couldn't believe it. When because we all get that talk and see the posts, oh, the Great Awakening, we're all awakening, you know, we're all woke, and they're calling NPCs. And that's another thing. That's just me. And again, this is why I find it hard. If I was on the fence of sorts, being ridiculed and called names ain't gonna get me to listen to you, listen to your objectives. I'm just gonna walk and go, you know. So it's how people, you know, when you delving in because you want to look Nancy Hardwick, people jump into a pool of theories, and whoever they come in contact first will leave a lasting note. And if you're getting someone, it's hardcore, it will put people off that. And we need more and more people to be objective and to say, listen, I can see where you're coming from, but I don't believe in this, I believe in that. And we're not getting enough of that. That's not getting promoted. It's like you either have to be hardlined or not. And if you're not, you're a gatekeeper, and it's ridicule. I'm calling people names. If someone was calling you, you're not going to listen to them, are you? You're going to be on the defensive straight away. And you just don't. And that goes for everyone. You know, I have my core beliefs, but they're not fixed. Maybe that's just how my brain works. And I just, you know, every day I adapt. Every day I change. You know, there is a Marmite animal. I'm positive there is. And it all pronounce it. You know, I just don't, you know, say, hey, you're this, you're that. would it get you? Because you're going defensive straight away. It's not no good for anyone. Mr. Marmite, like him, Marmite. Go figure. Go figure. So yeah, if everyone's not saw that video, basically I break down the word awakening, awake, because a lot I've been talking about how it's very eerie, similar to a celebration after a funeral, awake. Sambino's in the house, and that's what I've just been ramming home to a lot of people. Listen, you know, people always say, oh, don't say morning and things like this. Listen, we can change what words mean by the intent, you know. But if people are going around saying, I'm awake, and it basically talking about death. Now, is it talking about the not spiritual death, the knowledge, dying and being reborn? Possibly, but these people have not looked into the word like that. And then to see how tied it is to a Wiccan and Wicca and magic spells, that, and I don't know how I find it and find these things, but you know, if anyone else, like you guys would know, anyone else comes up with this, London is working. Can't be working if you're listening. get earning them pennies, lad. So when I was doing that video, and I'm just, let me get these things off the screen. It's just mind blowing, isn't it, guys? That when we're looking at topics, we see differently, and that's some of the questions. One thing I can ask anyone, if anyone, I don't want anyone doing something that they're not doing. But if any of you is on Twitter or X, please, the link is pinned in the chat, and it's actually on the top of the YouTube as well. Please follow me on there. You know, people generally, for some reason, don't want to listen to any ideas because I've only got a small following on there, and I need your guys back. I need your guys' weight. So let me just find some few things that I want to talk about. But remember to get any questions that you want in. I'm just going to get some stuff on. Where is it gone? Right, so we'll get that on in a sec. I just want to let it build up. It's real funny because I'm just watching the chat and it's like that, Paul. You're supposed to be talking, but you don't. You just get so enthralled in people talking. But yeah, so some of the videos that I've made recently, I've really enjoyed making them. Like I said in videos, I do like making them. I don't like posting them, and I don't like what comes after that. Even if it's positive, I don't know. My mentality, how it works is, I just love the gathering. The gathering and then putting it together. But yeah, I'm really dismayed with the community as a whole. I don't think it's ever been a community of sorts, and people are playing off against each other. You know, but we should be all rooting for each other, yet we're not. I just don't see why people are like that. Neil Russell, yeah. Oh, Francesca's in the house. Maybe I've just turned the lights on. No, the lights are on, but no one is at home. No, but about a year ago, I think I did. It was 8 months, 9 months ago. I have SWAT rooms. I got rid of all the stuff that I was containing in here and just made it so I could do these streams. But yeah, it's funny when we talk about, and that's another thing a lot of people don't look at, is like the etymology of the spell. Now you can argue till you're blue in the face of sorts that it's your interpretation. Well, it is, but this realm is made of spells. That's what we are using. And if you're finding good, intriguing stuff hidden in the spell, it'd be a miss not to share it with you, like I did in that video about the Wiccan and Awaken being one and the same, ties so beautifully into this realm of being magic. They would need us to be like that. And think about it, all indoctrinating the spells, the spellcasters. Makes sense, doesn't it? You know, we're in a magic hall. They basically convert us to think that we're not powerful, that one man can't do, or woman cannot do great things. And we're so programmed to think that. Yeah, I'm really upset with the community. You don't have to like everyone. That's not the point. You don't have to be, kumbaya and all glow sticks and everyone's the best. You can stay in your lane as thoughts, but just respect people's doing their message. And isn't it us versus them? And it's not. It's us versus each other and them and others. I just don't get it. I really haven't. With me growing up dyslexic, wondering why I can't read the spells, like I've said in many old videos, is that Mother Nature, the creating people to fight back, to not be under a spell, because we're under so much spells and frequent. Think about it, we're enclosed. And how many times have you heard of people picking up dead frequencies and dead radio signals? They've even based films and TVs on it. Francesca and I know a one-legged Canadian that does things like this, and he has picked up stuff like that. So you've got to think, hey, if all these dead signals and everything, because it's still cast, what is actually what we're living in? And when we talk about the Elohim, you can shorten Elohim to L-E-L, but you can also shorten it to just L. So like people have said in the chat, word frequency, put an L in word, you get world. So it is absolutely mind-boggling. And then on top of that, if you add to it the sense of every time you speak, you're casting a spell, it's hitting the medium that's all around us. Energy does not die, so your words are kept. And that always got to me, because most people do argue. Have you ever really had one of those really blowouts, arguing with a loved one or a friend, left and come back, and as soon as you come back, you can just feel how the energy's changed in that location because of the negativity. It's changed it. My late granddad always used to say to me when I was younger, Paul, do not go to bed on a bad word. Never go to bed on a bad word, in case something happens and you can't take it back, or something happens. Never go to bed on a bad word. And that's just been honed to me for a very long time, and these things matter. I appreciate that, Diane. I really do. Well, think about it. I did an old video, 11. It's funny that, isn't it? 11. You can say it like that. People do a lot of things like that, and that ring true. So, you know, this is why I don't believe in like self-governance of sorts, but you know, when things are wrong, we should be able to say, listen, you know, if your friend's out of order, there should be a friend and say, hey, you're out of order. And if your friend doesn't become your friend no more, whatever, they're not a friend. You have to go with the good and the bad times. We ain't perfect. None of us are perfect. Vicky the Viking, appreciate that, and say hello to your other half. You know, that's funny. I used to always struggle with the alphabet even till I was late. My head just could not get around things. I see things, you know what I mean? And sometimes it can be so I understand when people get frustrated when you're trying to show them things, but you know, think about it. If we're all put here for a purpose, like I was talking about in that video about being Wiccan and wizards and that, could it in fact be a Mother Earth, whatever, the creator, whatever name you want to believe in, creating that mindset to fight back, to release the Kraken? That's the last resort to change people's minds, you know, a mindset. And think about it, like we were saying, if all these frequencies are enclosed and it's all kept in the medium, everything is kept. You know, that's why in the 19th century they were talking about atmospheric memory that I've talked about in a long time. It is crazy. And is this why this incorporates that we're talking about, like the doorway effect? You walk through a door, your memory forgets. You forget what you're going through. You got giant arches. What does it amplify it, or does it? Or as I've said, these are like logic gates and change the state of matter in your head. There's just so many things to look at it, and sometimes they sound batshit crazy. They really do sound batshit crazy, you know. And things get pushed. Look at certain agendas. It's like topics are always pushed. The good old favorites. Now, are they right for being right? Or are they pushed because they're trying to keep you away from looking at other topics? You know, it is mad. So let me just get a few things up I want to have a look at. I created a Blacksheep Lives. So I want to go over a few things that I've gone on, like I was talking about last week. I can get that up. Let me close that and I'll share on screen. Let's see if I remember. I just have to watch what I'm clicking here, guys, because it's been a while. Right. Is it that one? Oh, dear me. They've changed it. They've changed it. Manage layouts. Right, I think that's it. Yeah, it is. Don't blame me if it goes off, guys. Miss Honeybee. You know what I mean? If it goes off, that's called I'm rusty on this. But I want to go over a few things that I've talked about recently. And please answer any questions. If I see it, I will answer it. Right. So. Oh, there we go. So I want to get a folder open. Get it out. So I want to, come on. So I want to talk about this in regard to what I've been talking about lately, the Beehive. And I want to emphasize, because I can't believe that we talk about a lot of things in regard to this realm and how it's designed. And we see, an integral part, especially using Freemasonry and films, about bees and how important they are to this realm. And the etymology that I did and looked at the beehive, and could it be a symbol of this realm, and actually finding out that yes, it is this realm. That absolutely, I was shocked when I found that bit. Let's see, I've got a few things, as you can see, that I want to look at today. But again, when I went to the ending, can I get that bigger? It came, you saw it on the screen, guys. The beehive from Freemason can represent the earth, though this is a more esoteric or alchemic interpretation rather than its primary. So there is theory out there that this beehive is a rendition of this realm, and the beehive basically means a hollow space, tying in to this cave theory that I've talked at. And people get so dismissive because they don't realize you can have a flat earth in a cave, in a chamber. And the people concave, it's actually in the title, concave, together in a cave. We should be together on all these because you can see similarities between what we're all trying to say and get at. They all appear in a cave. Even, you got the crater Earth talking about the moon is a reflection of the Earth. Well, you have to be in an enclosed system. And if it looks like that, then 100% in a cave. And these images that we're seeing, most of the time, the beehive is quite near the arch or inside it, the firmament, and there's the holiness to the Lord, the bees. And when I was looking at this week, and I'll talk about it and just read off screen because I like to see you guys' reaction, but you can see the importance of it, really, hopefully. Right, let's get back to this. Why is nothing? Stop! So, this is what Ian McDonald. Now, it's Janice the Crate. Think about it. I've showed. Now, this is not me again. He talks about him being matter. When he talk, supposedly, if you don't know, I've covered it in a few videos over the years. He's supposed to have had a sit down, as you do, and he had a sit down with Ovid and told Ovid he was matter. He was the earth. He was the chaos that formed into the earth. Now, when you look at caves, they are classed as liminal spaces. Now, Janos is the chief liminal god. He has all the frequency keys. He even talks about him being the beginning and the end. He talks about him being sound, frequency, and energy. All the things that we have talked about over the years. And he was at purpose. That was when I really got into it then, was that pandemic, because I was seeing everything, pardon me, connected to it, and we talk about ancient civilizations and cultures and different things, and how easy would it be if we're all in different locations and people with advanced tech can reach these other places, other lands, these extraterrestrials. It just makes so much sense, but it doesn't mean it's right. But if you look at it, if you are, and I'm one of the few that really, I'm not bothered if you believe it's a globe. I don't. You believe in that, does not bother me. That is a crazy in a sense of, think about it, you're spinning in Earth, right, in space. A flat Earth, how is flat? Is it infinite? Has it an edge? Concave, convex, all those theories, guys. If you really are honest with yourself, all sound, oh God, all sound batshit crazy. Everyone, even mine. I'm not saying mine's the best. They all sound batshit crazy. Everything. To grasp where we're actually living and how this realm is, to me, it sounds all magical. It seems all batshit crazy. Whatever way you want to put it, oh, well, with this, and then we're infinite. Okay, well, if we're infinite, you know, that to me is whoa, just as same as my cave theory. That's just how I've deployed it. In ancient times, it was called Hollow Earth, and people that claim to certain sciences believe in that. The ancient Greeks believed in that. So all these theories sound batshit crazy. If you're really, really an honest person, you would hold your hand up. Yeah, it's crazy. And I come along, poor batshit, it's always crazy, yeah. You know, I've done videos on Plato's cave, you know, in regards to how we're living, and what if it was more than an allegory. You know, because if that's another thing that really gets me about the community, they say, oh, well, guys, they'll say one word and expect you to fucking jump on your knees and go, whoa. Or they go, oh, well, it's truth in the movies, and then show you a movie, and that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. And then I will show you, oh, no, that's a coincidence. That's all. That's bollards, that. We can't have one thing after another. It's like, again, people will say, oh, all the world is a stage and we're merely players. Well, an anagram of stage is gates. It's a door. Who's the god of doors? How many guys of you and in the chat saw people talking and showing you archways and going portals to dimensions, and look what they're doing with these gates? And not one of them will mention the god of doors. You know, it'll get you banned from channels. You know, they don't want to listen, or they just go, you know, like, yeah, well done, run along. And it's, you know, we are portals. There's a door in us, according to the Bible, that never will shut. So I want to get another few things while we're talking about the bees, and I'll just read it from my thing, because so what I did is, I want to keep going back. So what I did is, today, while I was doing the show, I thought, you know what, I'll have to do a little bit. I can't just talk and just, please, someone ask me a question. I look, and I always do it, and these are not made. Actually, that's what, well, I didn't do that, but I anagrammed. You see, you know, my same wavelengths to a degree. People don't even realize, and again, this is another ridiculous one. So Bonanza is basically talking about the Polaris, but people always talk about in certain communities that Polaris is fixed, does not move. You get a time lapse. I've done a time lapse of it. It moves. You can see it on the time lapse. Okay, that's to the naked eye, it doesn't move. I grant you that. But it's not always been the North Star. They change. So why is this not mentioned in certain communities? And again, I had someone calling me out for it, saying, oh, no, this is just science. It's bollocks. They make it up. Who told you the North Star never moved? You know, they move. And in ancient times, when a lot of serpent worship was about, the North Star was Thuban. So in the time of the so-called Great Pyramids, and they try to get that BC crap in now, don't they, to really get in you to change timelines. But in ancient times, the North Star, according to them, is science, which is what everyone else is using for their own benefit. You can't not use it. Even in your own stuff, you use it. You can disagree and show you're working out, but you use it for a base. But in antiquity, the North Star was Thuban, which is in the Draco constellation, the dragon. So if all these ancients were that clever and he based everything off the stars and they use the stars. If the North Star was in the dragon constellation, to me, this would indicate why there is a lot of serpent worship in reality. That, to me, answers a lot of questions. But people don't want to acknowledge that is even a reality. Yes, it can be manipulated, but everything is manipulated. If we're going to go off that, we can't just pick and choose. So when we're talking about things, it's like, hey, yes, serpent worship and, you know, reptilians and things. Now, sometimes there is answers for certain things. Even when I talk about it, they can be, you know, the obvious answer is sometimes the real answer, you know, like Occam's razor and things. You know, but this world is strange, you know, really strange, because we're in it. And people are strange, if you've not noticed. So what I was getting to, I anagrammed Beehive because we were talking about being a beehive. And there's a few interesting things that I found that I want to share with you. And I could share the screen with you, but I like to try and see it. So Reverend Wolf's in the house. Basically, I anagrammed it. You know what? I'll do it so you can actually see it, so you don't feel left out. Let me just get back to this. So as you can see, I anagrammed Beehive and I got Evie Heb. You know, there was a few others, but nothing that, you know, to me stands out. Some other things to you will stand out, and that's why we need each other. So let me just get out of this, and I forget on that screen. So some of the things I got were this. So Evie is a feminine given name, primarily of Hebrew and Latin, acting as a diminutive for Eve, Evelyn, or Evangeline, derived from the Hebrew name Shavah or Haya. It signifies life or living one or the breath. So that's intriguing, isn't it, when you start to break down and look at the anagram? So you were talking about the breath or the living one, right? Which to me is intriguing in an anagram. Then the other one was, where have I put it? I did put it somewhere. There we go. I think it's this. No, it's not. Where's it gone? It's gone. It's gone. Terrible. There you go. There we go. So another one was Heb. And if you not know, Heb is tied to Thoth. In ancient culture, the ibis bird epitomized knowledge and wisdom, symbolizing Thoth, the god of understanding. Thoth possessed the power to render the unknown comprehensible, giving words to the cosmos. Remember, cosmos means of the earth, not space. So we're talking about spells and magic again. So I thought, that's intriguing. And there was another name that was close etymologically, and that was Hebe. Now, how is this intriguing? So, Hebe or Hebe, the Greek goddess of youth and daughter of Zeus and Hera, served as the original cupbearer on Mount Olympus, supplying the gods with nectar. Come on, we're talking about honey here, and ambrosia to maintain their immortality. She is often depicted in art with a picture pouring these refreshments. How crazy is that? That we're talking about that. Hebe, the Greek goddess of youth and a cupbearer to gods, is intimately connected to bees through a role in serving ambrosia, often associated with honey, which granted immortality. While specific myths of Hebe directly interact with bees or skurs, she is conceptually linked to them as part of the Olympian life-giving and nectar-serving tradition. So we're talking about how crazy is that, guys, that both that, Yes, bees are deeply tied to wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual insight across many cultures and esoteric traditions. So, like Thoth, who was taught by a lady that no one wants to talk about. How crazy is this guy? So, we're talking about these things. It's just a mind. So I anagrammed Beehive and got EV Heb. Heb is the ibis bird linked to Thoth and knowledge. The life force is knowledge. Do we need knowledge to grow? Sound makes sense, doesn't it? You need knowledge, which is also tied to light. Mind blowing. Welcome, War Chief Thunderstone. So, come on, so again, if people want to use Thoth as an idol of sorts, he was taught by a lady. I think it was Shishette. If my stop going on about that hot chocolate, one, taught him, and that's like the queen bee, and I do believe that if there is, the person who's running this place would be a woman in my mind. That's just how my mind works. Whether I'm too sexist, you're the opposite way. All the information points to that, personally. So I thought that was a mind blower, that we're talking about this realm. It connected to a beehive, and because it's hollow, and all the things that you can find regard to it. Look how many videos I've done on it. No, Corinne, if you don't ask me which video I think it is, if you go on my channel, let me just get it off so it doesn't play up. I think it is my last, I did a video, the Cosmic Cave, which I think I show you that in regard to cosmos actually means originally of the earth, and again, people, I'm just showing people what the information out there. I've never altered it. I've never doctored it. I will show you one theory, and sometimes I will show you two or three that go against it. I try and let the information speak for themselves. I have done since I started many, many moons ago, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, maybe I started. And, people, I don't know why, because I thought I was a delight, but I'm not well liked for some reason. I don't know what it is, whether it's because I'm too open or, I have that mentality, but people don't seem to like it. So when I talk about stuff today, it just means that, I've actually, thought about it. And this is why I was talking about the beehive of sorts, because in that recent video, I showed different ones. This, for some reason, is just the one that I've got to hand, is when we're talking about this realm. So to me, I just picture like a honeycombs. If you get, when you make honeycomb, and it's bubbles, and each realm, like the hive, is a different world with its own sun and moon. Some of these adjoining walls, pillars have come through because people have expanded. Did we originally be on the surface? Who knows? Because all these civilizations talk about a great flood, but they also talk about a great catastrophe. Now, was this something that people talk about, the melt brick and melted world? But all these stuff fit in a cave. Everything that I've showed you fit in a cave, from these big, huge stone balls that I call cave pearls, can be in this cave, in this chamber. There is a really good site. Can I get it to show you people? Right, can I just get that off? No, it's not that one. This is solution caves and formation features. So there's stuff in caves called balloons, bathtubs, bell canopies, all these things, blisters. So we're talking about melted rock. You got things in caves called blisters. Now, call me crazy, but if we are calling and using this as evidence, why can't I show this as evidence or a what if? You know, all good, AJ. Hopefully you are too, my friend. You know, and this is what I'm trying to get in the videos. I don't want to ram anything down people's throats because I can change how I think, how I react. You know, again, people have heard of inner earth, but I just like to call it a different thing because we all get, because there's always, and again, how many times, and I'm not naming names because I'm not that type of person, but how many times I've had someone say, "Hey, Paul, check out this chap, this lady," and then follow that with, "But please ignore this, 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 and this," and it's like a bloody disclaimer for a channel. You know, and it's like, oh well, yeah, the information, but the batshit crazy, or the really are, you know. It's like you're giving a disclaimer before they even heard the information. Now, you know, it's up for any of us to believe whatever we want. None of us should be here telling each other how to think. You know, we have enough of that from them. So, guys, please chuck in any questions if you want me to ask any. If I will know, I will tell you. I'll just carry on with what I was talking about. So, yeah, that blew me away about the Beehive stuff being connected to the realm. The awake stuff, how people talking about being awake is tied to a Wiccan. That just absolutely, that just blew me away. And obviously then tying that in with that new series, well, it's not new series, it's on its second series of Paradise. Talks about being, again, in a huge cave in a mountain. You know, what are you supposed to do? If people say the truth is in the movies, what movie, which program takes precedent? And they've named it Paradise, which means enclosed park. Come on. Again, a beehive. A beehive can be used that, yeah. There's also what a good person is commented on X and Twitter, talk about the artichoke as well. You know, so these symbols can be the pineal gland or they can be something else. Again, we shouldn't be here. Let me just move that. We shouldn't be here basically saying this is this and that is not. What I like to do is, and this is just me, is I like to look at what the theories out there and not be a pain in the ass like the little kid in the back. Are we there yet, Dad? Is the fact that why are we told it's this from within the community and you can't look at anything else? Why? And it's like they're gatekeeping this theory. You know, it has to be this, it can't be that. And that's, again, like for people who just not long joined or don't know, that is how I created Blacksheep Researcher, because I was tagged as being evil, being Lucifer, having a different things. Like saying, well, if it is flat, why does this not work? And every model is not perfect. And again, why is it not perfect? Why is it able to have all these theories? Why is it? Tell me. This is a question I've had on Twitter. And please, guys, if you actually are on Twitter, the link is in the description. I want to get like this page. I want us to get noticed, because too many times of us, we don't get noticed. And I want to stick my fingers up at these people, these fake accounts, and just say, listen, this is what proper following has. People have, you know, there's another question I want to try and keep hold of. So, do you think Janice is neutral or benevolent? Well, what is evil? If you're looking at video I've done called evil, evil means good. So what is going on? What is evil? When something is at your door, does that then become the devil? That is what the etymology of letter D is. Delet means door. So if the devil is at your door, evil is at your door, does it become the devil? Again, and people say the more I know, the more I unknow. It's crazy because it's all, madness of sorts. If there were great trees and some mountains are stumps, where is the rest of them? Well, as you know, I believe these giant trees, which listen, if you look at it, they do look like tree stumps, don't they, guys? If you're 100% honest, they do. But I ask these questions, where's the rest of them? These are the things I ask when I go into a topic and look at. I just like trying to look out the box. And that's when I started to think, well, if we were enclosed and they weren't actually giant trees, but actually stalagmites and stalactites and columns, natural cave formations. Remember, we're always talking about the pillars of the earth. We're all talking about these great pillars. Why couldn't they be that? Natural rock formations holding up the roof of each cave. And think about it. What product do they use to build these mighty buildings of antiquity? Rock, stone, the Peters. Why do most religions follow a stone in all faiths? Because it's the Peters, it's the rock. That's just how I see it, and I'm open to be wrong, and probably am anyway, but I treat it as just information, and if it sounds bloody crazy, it sounds bloody crazy, but I just say it as it is. It's like I'm always talking with friends. Again, we're all needed. Even people who haven't, we're all needed. And again, stuff like I've done years ago, finding that marble, when there's people talk about these, aren't these marble statues so lifelike? How could they build them with a chisel? Marble means death of the elves. Are they petrified? They're so lifelike. Well, that's what it means, marble. Again, that was done years and years ago. That's what I do. And it's not like to pee anyone off, but, if, for instance, if someone says to you, do that, what do? You generally do the opposite, don't you? You do, you do the opposite. And I'm told, well, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. Why does it have to be that? I don't see that. So then I have to look for an explanation. When I'm doing a video and I think, well, we're living in a cave, a chamber. Why? Well, the etymology of celestial, the heavens, the firmament, the firm, amons, ant is ent, which means giant. The giant firm above our heads is where the collection of stars are, means a chamber, a cell, a prison. There's so many ways of looking at it. A room. Other people in the Bible says it's footstool. The footstool has a roof, yes, and the 4 pillars, if it's that type. It just fits, but it doesn't fit perfectly because it's like it expands and changes to what we want to talk about. And you will see Cynthia. I won't use it as elegant as you. But you hear channels go, listen, I'm so open-minded, and then when you question it, you're blocked. So I thought you said you was open-minded. Listen, we all get triggered. People are still arguing and don't realize that the word truth does not mean what it does. And that's what I get blocked in a lot. Oh, truth doesn't mean truth. Well, what does it mean? It means faith, steadfast. It means a belief. Does not mean what we think it is. It's tied to Roman god that it's fides, where we get the word confidence from. We're confident what we're saying is right. Doesn't mean what we think it does. And that is the biggest thing in our community. We're truthers. We're believers. So I'm just catching up on the chat, guys. And, you know, and again, I don't want to say I'm right, because I'm not. But, you know, how many times I've been told I'm so wrong, and they're coming up with some shit, and it's like, okay, you know, why am I wrong? This is what I was trying to allude at. And Queen is, I believe people are good naturally, but are taught to be evil by influences which surround. I've talked about that in the sense of the 7 deadly sins, and talked about, think about it, like we have a grid, ley lines. Etymologically, the meaning of the spell is, it means lie. So what they're lying about, again, I see it all, ley lines, and awaken, and the 33 vertebrae, and the same old shit I've seen for the last 20, 30 years. Nothing's changed. Nothing is ever going to change if we don't say anything. But we as a thing do not like when our truth is attacked, because again, it's a belief. Why have we had all these wars on religion, politics? You can have a friend that you're so tight with, but when you start talking about religion or politics, you're falling out, you come into fisticuffs, you come into blows. That's what truth is. It's being weaponized, you know, in my opinion, of course. You know, evening, note mechanist or machinist, you know, if I get your names wrong, it's no diss. I'm just dyslexic. So I do struggle, and have enough of the things on the screen to try and help me. So ask any questions. But this is what I try to do. I try to come into the community. I try to be who I was from the beginning, not change anything. Probably get too excited at times. But I wanted to try and change how we all think in a good way, not in a telling you have to do this. You know, go for your intuition. If your intuition says I'm wrong, that's cool. Go for your gut. And again, this is what I'm saying to you. How many times, well, my gut's never wrong. Well, what if my gut says it's something else and it's never wrong? How the hell would we get anything done? Oh, my gut says you this, Paul, or that topic is that, Paul, but my gut doesn't. Whose gut do we go off? Whose intuition? What is intuition? Is it your voice that you're hearing? And again, this is what I all talk about. There's so much we just do not know. And will we ever know? But we're all the same. If you're here, you're generally 9 out of 10 are open-minded, you know. And guys, I want to do a little poll while we're here. So just put in one. Right. So what I want to know is, are you sick and tired of the community, of how it is, how we're getting topics rammed down us? and are you happy with that? So if you are happy with how things are in the community, put 1. If you are not happy with the community, whether any reason, just put a 2, and we'll just see how it comes on, on the channel. So just fire away, guys, if you want. If you don't want, don't bother. Say, I abstain. I will not do as I am told. And that is cool also. You can be happy in it, and someone's put a 3. I just love that. That would be me. No, I'm not putting 1 or 2. I will put 3. I will put 4. Don't you tell me what to do. And this is what I do. That's what I love, humor. Not enough humor. You can't have humor, because obviously my humor is very dry and dark, and some people would think I'm serious. You know what I mean? So I try not use it. I'm stupid, but I try and hold a lot back. What's funny, Honeybee, is the fact can contain some truth, but truth is not fact. Again, that is the paradox of everything. And think about it, you're talking about the portals. Why is Janice never mentioned? I'm to that of sorts. Come from space, but I will admit, I do like my own space, and I don't want someone being too nice and come all that in my face. I don't like that, too much overbearing. But I respect, and I'm that side. I don't like people shouting or being aggressive. I don't think it gets you anywhere, and you're acting like a bully. Yeah, I've just gone on that. I keep, well, I have had to. It is gone bad. So that blew me away about Paradise being about that being in Close Park. Yeah, just have an opinion. But you've been there, guys, haven't you? And you can't have an opinion and someone come, well, yeah, that's cool, Paul, I like that, but no, it's this. And no, you're so wrong. It's the people just don't understand. Think about it. How can everyone have so much different opinion and it be the same? That in there is a clue. So a little update that I talked about on another channel, London's channel. Do you remember the video I did on appeal? So I broke that word down in the spell etymology, and it did weird me out for a bit because I've never had anything like that happen to me. So if people has watched it, that video appeal, just please put yeah. So then I know that you know what I'm on about. So if you watch that spell etymology appeal where I've broken down the coating on through, let me know in the chat. It's been stagnating for a while. Ego, pride, yeah. People always recommend channels to me, Brooke, and I'm not going to lie to you. There have been some of the channels that have actually ridiculed and abused me. It is scary, and people, it's like a dick. Pardon the the saying. It's like a dick measuring contest. The ego, and I'm honestly by a big channel that people said, and they've said no, you're wrong because the angels tell me you're wrong. Where'd you go with that? So anyway, so what I was getting back to, I did a breakdown on it, and you can actually see it. It's just on the screen. It might take a bit to focus, but you'll see it. It's just about there. There you go. And the guy who made the name commented, and I'm like, oh. So think about that. The person who, why would a person of that stature comment on my post on that and say he can, you know? And again, could be, could not be, you know. Said he came up with it in a dorm at college, but why would he feel the need to reach out and tell me that? Hey, go figure that. See, I've always got the, and I'll be honest with you guys, I'm, if you've probably noticed, I'm on the what's so-called autistic spectrum, and I am hard work at times. You know, I'm not perfect. I see a pattern, and that's just how I have to get it out. And you know, I've always wondered, what have I done that hardly anyone in the community want to do collabs, and that's why I've given. I've tried my hardest, and it's been plainly, I've been told, no, stay in your lane, and that's why I've just near enough basically stopped, and I've just got on with my own, you know, my own thing, kept to myself. Because you know, we all talk about morals, and we all have our morals, don't we, guys? And it's like certain morals are thrown out the window just because someone is saying the truth. Well, truth, there's no such thing as truth. So you're following someone who's dubious, to say the least, just because something resonates with you. So you're throwing out your core beliefs, your morals on life, because you know you want to fit in, or something hits home. You know, please, if you've got questions on any topics that I've done, you know, please ask away. And that's what happens sometimes. Like today, I thought this morning, you know what, I'm going to shock everyone, and I'm going to go live. You know what I mean? They're going to go, well, I don't recognize that logo. Who's this? Oh, yeah, it's a Blacksheep. Yeah, we'll come. And then in the day, I was like, oh, you know what? I can't be bothered now. My brain is like, you know, people don't want to hear me gabbing, you know, and I do need, and maybe I should set things out more, but I'm just, it's how my mind works. I like to just go off, you know, what comes into my head. And, you know, sometimes it doesn't, is not good for viewing, and I get excited. But just, you know, I try and just keep who I am to, you know, who I am, if that makes sense. But I've been blown away about some of the content I've made lately. I've been really, really proud of. I'm trying stuff. If you notice, I've not done the thoughts in a long time, because I've just been, do you know, where in that love-hate type of thing with the community. And with you guys, most 99, well, 100% in the chat, I'm okay. But you just, do you know, when there's always that one who can bring you down, like, you know, like a lumberjack, and I just, you know, I just can't be arsed with it. You know, I really can't be arsed. You know, I'm in a decent place, and I just, you know, people have to be negative for an agenda. And what's worried to me is, yes, there is bots out there, but you'd be shocked that a lot of these people are real. You know, and it's just some crazy stuff that we go through. So I just like looking at different things, So if you do want to see stuff on a day-to-day basis, guys, you're missing out if you're on Twitter and you're not following me on there. You've only got to go to the link in this, or on the YouTube itself, and got to find me under there. And all videos that I talk about, I mean, people are talking about politics a lot lately. I mean, that's an old breakdown that I did of politics. many crazed madmen. You know, you talk about them being bloodsuckers, but to me, that rings true to me more than anything. Many crazed men. And this is why I do it. I like, how can I find these things if they don't make sense? You know, that's why I always talk about these things, because yeah, turds, yeah. I'm just mind blown, because there's a lot of intelligent people out there, and again, I don't know what you want to class as intelligent. You know, is it what society call intelligent? Most of them are not, but you know what I mean. It's like some stuff doesn't even get to a video, guys. And I'll go over some things, because I'm always at it, guys. So let me just find it. I'm trying to look now what it was. You know, I'm not professional. There we go. That is it. That is the correct spelling. And I will share with you now, because I'm always looking things every day, and some of them don't get onto, you know, onto streams. And again, my mind, I just if I don't see it in front of me, I just go. Oh. So there we go. And again, I just love just looking at different stuff. So again, stuff. Where's it? Where have we gone? Where have we gone? And again, that's this. What I said, twinkly. What is intelligent? I've always, you know, I do switch off a lot. You know, is the fact that, think of the word, some of the stuff that goes, and people will go new age stuff and all this crap. But I like looking at everything, and we're always told we have an aura, right? Well, let's break down that word aura while we're on stream now. So AU can be gold, could it not? But what it actually means is dawn, and means light. It means a glow. So think about it, or it can be shining dawn. So you got the talk of that and Lucifer. So an aura, if you break it down, AU means gold. Obviously, the chemical symbol for gold is aurum, but it means gold or shining dawn, but also can mean just dawn, or it can be a glow. So you left them with Ra, obviously, Ra, the sun god. So you can just look at the words straight away when you look at these things. Aura. You know, it's crazy, isn't it? When you just look at these words and how they mean something in a spell. And that's why I say to people, you know, I always people complaining about stuff. And again, Kath, you've just made things up there. Is the fact that desert. People always ask me, oh, well, if we're in a cave, in a chamber, Paul, being sarky, what's a desert? Well, look at the etymology of the word desert. It means left waste. People are asking, where's the trees? The trees are rock, the deserts. Get it? And again, you can actually think in other stuff. Yeah, Friday the 13th tomorrow is against of people believe this place is a mining place. What do you mine? I'll leave that with you. You know, it is cray, as some people say. Look, you see that behind me though? Can you see? I got to the first elemental. And again, what people don't understand is we are basically how we are created and what affected us throughout our lives creates us. So maybe I've had to go through all the shit and have a bad life to make how I am. You know, we just thingies of our environment, but that affects us how we think. And again, why does everything seem to create? That's why I just look at words a little bit different, and sometimes I split them because they are spells, and how you say a spell will leave a medium, and that's not talked about enough. As soon as you speak, it hits the medium cymatics. Something else that Janice is cymatics. He said that thousands of years ago. And when I put these in videos, people just like, yeah, right, Paul just making this shit up. I've not. It might be made up, but it's made up a long time ago. Maybe it's not, my mate. Who knows how people connect and talk and have talked in the past. That is, But think about it now is, again, that's why I talk about the cave within a cave within a cave, because it's just hollow, but we've all been brought up on what's happened is, and this is no, again, if anyone is a flat earther, I'm not tarring everyone by the same brush. Again, I'm not the type of person. But, when you believe it's flat and people who are hollow or concave, people, they were just like that. And not one of them can think, you know what, we're ostracized, we're ridiculed by society. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ridicule you first in this society, because that is the bully ethos. That is, if I shout loud enough, that means it's right. And it's not, and I'm just open to anything to explain world we're living in. But to me, everything sounds crazy. And then you'll have talk about it being a simulation and we're all in a holographic thing. That sounds batshit crazy just as much as other stuff. If you're really open, all things, all life sounds batshit crazy, and we'll have people who, Paul, you spelled that wrong. Grammar Nazis. And where does the grammar come from? The grimoire, spells. You are protecting how a so-called elite want you to talk, like, he's missing an apostrophe out, or it's not, it's the RE instead of EIR, and all this. It's, come on, you're being programmed to defend a spell to be right. Go figure. People can do a lot of things, and people don't admit they've got certain skills, powers, whatever you want to call it, because we're all ridiculed. Again, simulation. What is this? As soon as you say simulation, you think of The Sims, like the game being controlled in the computer. I think, and we're all programmed into thinking that as a description. And again, a simulation can fit like holodeck in a computer, like Star Wars, Star Trek, into this cave, because it just means a room. A cave can be a room. So think about it, we're in a room, and I think of, and I use evidence from everywhere. I've seen an episode or something once. I've talked about it many times, and they were talking about how if you create a symbol and enough people think on it, it creates into existence. You know, things seem to be like a simulation. And then when you think simulation, people don't like that because it means that computers and AI and all that, that's what we're born to. But when you think of Matrix, again, which is a testament to the womb, and other things that I've broke down over the years in videos. Remember the Agent Smith, a smithy, you know, so all these things make you think. And sometimes what I don't like is when, you know, when people like really go on to board with the spells and just talk shit, make shit up, and then I'm waiting for the applause. Sphere is a shape, flat is an subjective, it's an important realization, but the bigger picture is where it gets interesting. It can be absolutely anything, and I'm honest. Every theory of this realm sounds batshit crazy. It really does. It's like we shouldn't really exist in. Are we existing? There's so many people, thoughts, and you know, on this place. Again, waking up means death. So, are we spiritually waking up? Are we waking up in the matrix system? Because that's why I did that video where we talk about the wire. You know, are we wired in? You know, it is 100%. How many of your thoughts are your own, and how many are programmed? Again, 100%. And people say, oh, well, it's my thoughts. How do you know it's your thoughts? It's in, you're just getting it from in here. Well, it's mine, isn't it? Think of, that's why I always all like to refer ourselves as a router, a modem. We all have an IP address. And like people have said from, was it the WEF, we are hackable. You have, was it school technology, putting thoughts in your head. I've talked about the towers. Where do ideas come from? Ideas come from. For years, I've talked about atmospheric memory. The guy who's tied in, not originally doing it, but there's a lot of emphasis on him. I can't remember his name, but he did Boolean theory or Boolean logic. A famous mathematician. He said all thoughts, all ideas are stored all around us. Some will say the Apache or Kasich records. But think about that would make sense if it's all stored around us, like our spells, all stored around us in an echo chamber. You walk through a door, you get cut off from source, you forget, and then tip of my tongue, it comes back to me, like you just pulled it out the air. And that's what I was, you know, what I was just always looking at. Again, tied to beehives and wisdom, and that was, and Wiccan and awaken. That was it, not bees, sorry. The Wiccan and awaken, the witches was the watchers. Were the watchers the original witches? Think about it. When I talked about the Babel effect or the great vow to L shift, they wanted everyone to not realize or learn all the spells in this realm. Think about it, if you knew all the spells, you could maybe get out or alter your reality around you, just like the Matrix. And people will say, truth's in the movies. And then when you show something in the movie, oh no, that one's not. It is, you know, you can't win. So just ask away, guys. For the last 20 minutes, I'll ask you some questions. I know I've been babbling on about different things and going off you guys, but you know, I just wanted to show my face, to show you I'm still I'm still here. So you're Mr. Rasta, yeah, Mr. Rasta. Yeah, I did Awakened. A couple of videos. The last one were Awake. I talked about Awake being at a funeral, but also Awake is tied to Wiccan and magic and witches. I've always done it, you know, off the cuff. Even when I used to do sports, I was always off the cuff. So ask away, guys. If I don't know, I will say I don't know. I'm not one of these people who make shit up. If I don't know, I won't know. You just get that off. But some of the stuff I've found recently, I really now if people don't get a butt hurt, you know, I'm not here to. If people can believe in Q all they want, I don't. I've never once looked. I'm not interested in things like that. That's just me. And again, if people are, that good for you. I just look at the letter Q etymologically. So the letter Q originates from a monkey. That's all I say on it. And you think about that, then what does that mean? Diana, and it's no, attack on you. You know, you just asked me what I think about the Q post. I've never once looked at them. It doesn't interest me. Now, I don't even know if they're right or wrong. I just, saw people talking about it. I thought, well, why are they using the letter Q? And it means a monkey. I don't know if I can find it while we're talking. But again, like anything in life, things are not what they seem, Let me save that to a file and I can show it on the screen. Beehive, there we go. And then people can just see, where have it gone? If what I like and think of this way, Diana, on any theory, not just you, if you enjoy it, why can't you enjoy it? I'm not that person who wants to stop you from enjoying or thinking there's truth in something. I'm not here for that. So I just, I found stuff intriguing and that's what I share. There you go. So like people said, it can be a belt, but originally it came from a monkey. So did they choose that intentionally to say that you are monkeys, you are apes? So that's just all I have to say on it. And again, it's not me copping out. I'm happy if anyone's happy. Why should people want to stop people being happy? Or they like a topic? You know what I mean? And then you can break it down on anything you want, but what I will do is, and if I see people, if I see people ridiculing, even if you believed in it or not, in my post, I just remove them. I'm not here for people to ridicule, call anyone out. I don't like that stuff. And again, look at any word. And I'm not picking anyone out, just things catches my eye. But people talk about demons, etymology, that means genius. Or it can be seen as it, why, what's going on? You know, and is it just a certain language because certain things mean something else and different? It's a minefield. And again, like I was saying, I don't know where. People just want, again, people don't realize the truth community is just like the politics, is just like religion. When something resonates with you, gets your vibe, you will defend that with your life of sorts. So you can see what I'm trying to get at. And that's what's happening with everything in this community. You know, we do not want to acknowledge that basically everything's bollocks. Think about it and grasp this. How can I think this? You think this. You think this. And these are other people. You think this. 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 And all that's different. Tell me. How is that possible? How can you be in a place when everything can be interpreted? And again, I bring it back, interpret, Peter, rock, stone. People talk about 33, don't even realize it's 311s. And I was the same coincidence theorist, so this is not a go at you. I was there because when you go into certain things and learn something from the future, you don't realize. That sounds like when people are Irish, you know, you've got really Irish accent, 33. You know, I just like I've done stuff over the years and then contradicted myself and ridiculed myself because I'm always learning. There's information. It just seems like I read somewhere once and I can't prove it. But I'm swearing it was in, what was those things now? Not the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Apocryphes. I've got the book somewhere. It's not ruins. Where is it? Oh no! All these books I've not even read because I find reading hard. But I've got loads. You know, Paradise Found. I've got loads, but there is. I can't remember what I said, but I swear, and I don't know if it was said by Saint Thomas. If there is a Saint Thomas, that just name means connected. But it said that Jesus might have been the Nag Hammadi. It might have been. I've got that as well, so it could have been that Jesus wants us to learn, and when we learn, we find Him. And that is. And that's always stuck with me because I always wanted to know, am I programmed? You know, like when you see Star Trek and it goes, you know, space, the final frontier and all that stuff. Are we programmed to research, to look, to find? And is that, and I'm honest, and is that a distraction? Am I being distracted to look for other stuff instead of looking at the reality around me? Again, hidden in plain sight. I've seen stuff. Could have been that, you know, Gospel of Thomas. Thomas sounds Pepper City Dolls. I don't, you know, I just words, and that just sticks with me. Certain things stick with me. And that's how I try and live. I ain't perfect, but I just like, I'm the antisocial social media. I'm like, why is no one watching my stuff, or why is no one talking to me? Oh, I Paul, because you shut the door. You want to be left alone. It's like I want both worlds, and sometimes that's what I am, you know. But yeah, that's always stuck to me. So, are we made to gold mine for gold? So mine for information. You know, even if you look at that Daniel as well, fractals. Remember, AL can be changed to EL. You know, so this is what I just like looking at and finding these information bits out there. Are we made this way? Are we the same? And again, these are things I've asked in questions. Are we the NPCs? Now, I got ridiculed for that, because think about it. If you are not playing the game, so if you're not playing, so you know your family's playing a board game, and you're not playing, are you not playing character? Are you not playing this game? So we all like to think that we're doing what we're doing. We're not playing. So why can't we be the NPCs? Because NPCs have been ridiculed as dim, not connected, and being drones, basically. And that's the basics of it. And I just want to look at it different. Well, if I'm not going along with what society says is the norm, am I different? And again, look at the word norm. I brought that down years ago. Norm could be the Nordic norms, which are tied to fate and everything. So the new normal was that them changing from one thread to another thread. That's what I always try and be. Again, I'm not, don't sound daft, I'm not really a people person of sorts, you know, because I have a set of values, and a lot of people can't hold up to them values. That's why I try and keep themselves for myself, you know what I mean? Because it's not right for me to put my ethos on other people and expect them to live like that, because they're not me. That's why I've had time fitting in surroundings and fitting in with people. I'm not aggressive or anything. I won't stand for bullies and that, but I'm on about that. I'm just, you know, I like things way. That I just don't know these things myself. I've always been like this, you know, even at school. And it's so funny because, again, like school, they said I was sick, but because I was an athlete, you know, I was going to go down that route. Anything, and I mean, even this, anything I put my mind to, I'm good at. Sometimes not even practicing. It's not me boasting. It just is, you know. So I was really fast, you know, really, really fast. And I played rugby, did athletics, did long jump, things like that. I was, you know, people used to have me chasing people down on bikes. I was just rapid, you know. I even run differently. You know, I had it's a funny tale. I used to have a sprint coach, and they were saying you have to run like your heels, like that. It might have been the other way. It might have been taking a step and then going and then pushing off. And I was doing the opposite, and I wouldn't change because I was saying I am now. I've got this far, you know, and they want to take. I've just always been different, you know, and I'm not going to change now for anyone, you know. It was like phonetics. That was funny. See, you just remind me, I've posted that today. So if people want to see me posting every day, go to Twitter. Only if you're on it. I don't want people to create a Twitter account because it can be a toxic place. But I don't go looking for anything. But can you imagine if we had a bigger voice? You know, and I was and it's been in videos as well. The phonetics in the phonetic alphabet were first used in the 11th BCE or whatever it was, off by heart. I did post it not long ago as well. It's funny, isn't it, how these 11s, like the alphabet, the 11 matter, you know. I've taken some tests and I scored off the chart, whatever that was. And, you know, I've been told that I am on it, but I've not got around to saying it yet, you know, saying what it is. My brother is older than me for 5 years and he's just got done, you know, and he's the same. Not the same way of thinking, but, you know, type of mindset. I don't see him that much because he lives quite a fair bit away from me. That bloody egg in it. Is it was it a boiled egg, fried egg, scrambled egg, chocolate egg? So, yep, 11, 11, 11, 11. Remember the alphabet? 11. And that's just why I've always said, Janice, he said he's the beginning, the end. He's the alphabet. That's a good question. He created numbers. Let me see what they say, because I bet it would be in the Far East, wouldn't it? I like looking at numbers. It says numbers were not invented by a single person, but evolved over millennia. Paleolithic tally marks. So they've all been different things. And then if you think about it, there was the way of thinking that the Sumerians had in regard to 60s and things like that. And then it changed to Greek and then Roman. You got the Hindus, you know, so a lot of things have been changed, you know. And people have mentioned that. I've always been intrigued with Ogham as well. You know, there's just so much good stuff out there. I think, you know, we all have the gift for something. I don't know what my gift is. Making shit up, probably. But, you know, I appreciate it. So, guys, you got 5 minutes. Ask me some questions. Come on. I've drunk me herbal tea. Today's herbal tea, if anyone's wondering, I've drunk it, was marshmallow root. And it is nice. So actually the root itself, not like the marshmallow you put in the hot chocolate. You know what I was going to do? I've done a video on that one of the first videos I've ever done, AJ. Because it's not the pyramids of sorts, but hear me out if you've and CD Jackson, I've seen a UFO twice. I've saw a frozen plane a few times also. So the Great Pyramid, I believe, was built by the Sumerians. That's just me. I believe it's built in a flower of 8 pattern, the rose. And if you look from above, it hasn't got 4 sides, it's got 8. And originally it would have had 2 sphinx in front guarding it. And that basically means it was, in just my opinion, that it was built for Inanna. That was just how I looked at it many moons ago. And I mean, it was one of the very first videos. Let me see if I can go on, because I can't go on it because I forgot my password. But just so you know, I'm not telling porkies. So it is, I nearly forgot myself then. I'll find it and then I'll put it on the screen. Then people don't know, because people don't realize how long I've really been doing it. I've scarily been doing it a long time. Let me, so I'll do it. I'll share the screen because I like to be transparent with people, you know. Marshmallow root's lovely. I have a little diffuser that I put the root into, let it soak. It's absolutely lovely, and it's good. It's really good for you as well. Let me show. Oh, there we go. I have to be quiet because I don't want to just like cane it and go it. Right, here we go. So many moons ago, I put the old channel because I was a Blacksheep researcher and they got deleted off YouTube. And so all the content was saved to Odyssey. So these are the original oldest stuff. And I mean, you know, I've updated them and I've got better, but you can see these a long time ago. And some of the stuff that was banned off YouTube, like social distancing and the COVID videos, are on here. Circumpunct. It's one of the earlier ones. Saint Corona, dyslexia, fear porn, squassaman, dreams. Let's have a look. I'll have to do something on that again. The Sacred Tale, that was mind-blowing. That's just when I originally started. We've all been Googled. We're getting there. We're getting there, guys. The Council of the Ancients. God, that takes me back. I've originally did a video. These are older than this. This says 6 years ago. That's just when it was uploaded. People were complaining that my Tartary for beginners videos was too basic. Go figure. Well, that's when he had less grey hair. We're getting there. We're getting there. I used to have bad t-shirts as well, guys. We're getting there. This is when I really first started, and I was shite. Don't watch them, guys. They're awful. Getting there. We're getting there. Come on, Paul. God, there it is. Can you see? So it's about 8-9 years ago. Inanna, Ishtar, Venus to the Vatican. That was even before I looked into Janice. That's just the start of it. But yeah, if you look at sometimes people don't know. If you look at the Great Pyramid, it's actually designed to look like the flower, and that's her symbol. Obviously, as well as the 8th, the star, and that's what fits in it. So if you look above, it's a star, and she has lions at her feet. The Sphinx are there, but there originally was 2. Some say that the other pyramid was moved to the other side of the river that was there, the Nile. Because they say it was more water, wouldn't they? So that's what I theorize. And there is a Sumerian link with Egypt. You've only got to leave it a look, and it'll tell you. So that's just what I thought on that. I haven't looked into that. So again, don't lie. I won't lie. I've not looked into experiments on babies. Robert's in the house. I'll be going in a minute. So I'll turn for a few minutes. But again, please get your questions in. So yeah, these things, I just like looking at different. It doesn't mean I'm right. I just don't accept even in what the community say. And I'm really sick and tired of just the same old shit. I know you might say, "Oh, you're going about Jonas a lot," but it's an evolution. Some of you have been with me since I started that research and know how much it's come on. And then I know I'm talking about this cave stuff, but the cave can be a chamber, it can be a room, it can be a prison. Do I believe in manifestation? I do, of sorts, but I do. Oh, who's that guy who taught people to manifest? But you know, when you try it hard enough, does it actually work? But I think the key to it, and this is with anything, don't try. Don't try. Because when that's just how things are. My mum's not too bad. She keeps falling. You know, I'm with Sam Bino's mum. She keeps falling as well and being not well. But yeah, I believe you don't try, because when you don't try, you relax. So maybe getting in a relaxed state and letting it come natural. Because I've done a lot of stuff and manifested a lot of shit's happening. I call it like a gypsy rose lead. That's just what we call it, you know, like a family joke that we all have to put. All my kids, everyone around me has it. We say things and it instantly happens. Are we capped at a certain degree? Is that why they don't want us? And that's what I've talked about in videos. You know, are we getting away from that? But it's like everything in life. You know, we're all, you know, well, I'm assuming we're all broke and sorts, and you like, oh, manifest money because I need it. Oh, well, that won't come because you're asking for money, you know, and things like this are happy. Like, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. And I think that's what it knows. I'm trying to. Someone, what's this? When are you going to write a? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? I find I'm writing it. Like I said, most of these books I've had years, and I've read one line because I take so long. You know, I would need help with that, and then, you know, different things. I've always wanted. I wanted to do T-shirts and different things. I originally did a T-shirt right at the beginning of the channel 7-8 years ago, and never got around to it because I find trust so hard. I'm not in it to make money, but people try and. If you are in it to make money, cool. There's nothing wrong with doing that if that's what you're open about. It, you can learn and make money, you know. But you know, it's stuff with the how to get this going and different things. And that's probably what is held me back, not doing books and stuff, because a lot of people have made books. I would need help with it, you know what I mean? But it would be nice to get information out there. But it's like anything. People have always said, why don't you do this? I've done it. And they don't, you know, like for instance, a lot of people are asking me to be on more of social media. Yet no one goes. So, you know, I need you, basically. We need each other. And hopefully it's one of the things I'll get around to. But at the minute, I find it very hard to have time to do something like that because of what I go on. You know what I mean? I won't lie, guys. I find life hard. I do. Some days I just want to cry. But, you know, the creator gives me my mind to help me to get out of it and look at things, and that's what I do. Sambino knows. You know, I miss out on a lot of things. And sometimes I'm happy not being in the community. And then others, when they have that not so-called normality, I'm like, I wish I was in it. But you can't have both. Hopefully, guys, you respect me for who I am, you know, quirks and all. And again, I need you to get out there and help me. It's not because I'm lazy, but you know what I mean? I need you recommend the channel to people, you know. And again, it's not to catch me, like knowledge is tied to the door. No gnosis. Ledge is from the door. So everything can be connected to the door or a portal. It's a transition. You know, it's so strange. You know me. Sometimes Sambino tries to get me to do stuff. You know, he'll tell you I'm hard work. I'm so like laid back. You know, I've always been that way. To me, when you ask me to do something, yeah, and then something comes in my head, a theory, a thought, and I'm making a video, and there's people, I thought you were supposed to be doing it. Oh yeah, I'm easily like that. Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, life, when people don't realize how much of a struggle I have, but I won't mention it because I'm not using it as an excuse. You know, it's bad. Life's bad, but that's why we need each other. Yep. And that's why I try and make it as happy and have a laugh as I can, because I believe it changes, resonates, you know, with each other. As you know, we've all got it bad of sorts. You know what I mean? I do appreciate you, everyone. I really do. It's not. I just so appreciate everyone. Asteroids from outside the firmament well, I don't know what the firmament is. I can say etymologically, it's that roof. But if we're in a cave or a chamber, our asteroids, the roof. We have a great rift, the Milky Way. Is that a tear in it? Is that what created? Is that what the waters from above did for the Great Reset, the flood? Is that why Janice is tied with Noah? Think about it. And again, like me, people talk about the cosmic joke, and it's cosmic means of the earth. When you just find these things, and again, it can be all wrong, because where do we get information from? A library and indoctrination TV and YouTube and the voodoo dolls and the Ouija board is a computer, and AI lies. Again, that's something that I asked recently on social media. So I post on there every day, guys. And some of the things it comes out with, it's mind-blowing. So we need your support. I need your help. People don't realize that. You know, I like to do these things all the time. Where did I put it? I just want to show you what it is. And again, these are other things that I post and I've done videos on. All maps are lies. You know, when people are fighting over the maps, you can just go on, you can search engine it, and it says fundamentally all maps are flawed. They're not accurate. You know, it's crazy. It could well be. Again, if people say they know shit. Why can't we be brutally honest? I've turned on some channels that people's recommended, and they're so up their ass, and everything is this. I know jack squat, and I'm not right, but you're not right. We're all right, and we're all wrong. I'll go for a couple of more minutes because you know, I've enjoyed tonight, considering I've not done anything. You have, Esther. You know, some of you have been with me for so long and seen me change, not personality-wise, but, you know, less hair maybe and more grey hair and, you know, life. And do you guys want me to do more lives? Because I can do that and fit in when I can be asked. Again, I'm honest. Do you know what I mean? And I will start doing some more moots again. I do. It takes a lot out of me. Yeah, I have a lot of them as well. But, you know, when is the last time you had a really, really good laugh? I just love laughing. You know what I mean? I do stuff to my mum all the time, having a laugh. You know, it helps, you know, when you're at a certain position and you're ill and different things, and it helps. You know, you shouldn't laugh. And I don't want to feel sorry for me or anyone else who's in that position, because we're all in it. I just I like having a laugh. I like ridiculing myself. I know some people, well, you shouldn't because your body doesn't know any different, but that's just how I am. Laugh, fart, take the piss, you know. But yeah, think about it. The asteroids, no one's ever been killed from them. I know you'll say, you know, think about it. No one's ever been killed. If you search engine it, you'll say one come close. So if he was spinning in space, how is it not a regular thing? Oh, well, Sambino was having a poo on the toilet, he's having a turn, and an asteroid come through the window and killed him dead. Why is that not a regular thing? You know, Diana's having a bath and an asteroid comes shooting through a roof. You know, asteroids, that's brilliant. But you know what I mean? It should be a regular thing. So it's firm for a reason. Now, could bits through them hitting rockets loosened it? You know, they actually says in the Bible, what you loose down here loosens up there. What you know, so they're trying to tell you, you know, so do they? That's why these older things is why it changed me. And sometimes you don't like saying it because people get butt tight. You know what I mean? You know, so think about. I know people would help, but I don't even say anything because I remember like last year, my computer died and I just used my life savings to get a computer. Not even a good one. I don't like people helping me. You know, some people know we're old school. Some, you know, over here, we're a bit. It took me years to get that buy me a coffee on because people know. It's like I don't want to be, you know, begging for it. So life's hard and I just get on with it. And us English people over here were like thick upper lip, stiff upper lip, and stuff like that. We just get, you know, like anywhere, we get on with it, you know. And I don't like that, you know. People always said, "Why don't you do this, Paul?" You know, it's like do it yourself, you know. And I believe everyone's like that. Yeah, because anyone, when I do my stuff, I'm not saying I'm right. That's just my spelling, and that's the beauty of it, you know. And that's just what I think. Think about it now. You're in a chamber, a roof, and the rock. That's why when you see all these people saying these are craters from asteroids, why do they all like something's fall straight down? Again, people have used that as proof in the community. There's no such thing because it's all fell down. Well, if it fell down, it'd only come from the roof, wouldn't it? Again, like the world, they say this is spinning, but it's not just spinning. It's spinning in that direction, and then up it's like, you know, 1,000 miles an hour, and then it's 7, then it's 5, then at the poles it's not moving, right? So how would you get the dust from Sahara all over my car when it's going against the grain? It's virtually impossible. It's impossible. So everything is bollocks, you know. And again, Great Rift ripped open, all that rock went somewhere. Did they build with it? Is this celestial rock? Is it the deserts, which are the remnants of it? Who knows? And again, you'll have people who say Lucifer, light bearer, so on. And some people tag him to devil. You have all these different people thinking these different things. And it's so hard doing a channel and navigating through all it all. I just like saying everything is silly beyond illusion. Everything is silly. Everything is funny. Everything is wrong. Everything is right. you know, so I'll stay for a couple of more minutes and then I'll go. But things I just love. I mean, I have my pads. I should just personalize me. See, things, I don't know if these made videos, but 7 deadly sins. Look what that anagrams into. Devil's DNA. You know, so you can just see, you know, I've looked pads everywhere. Oh, I've not written that one. I'll soon change that. But we have one thing. And again, this is not, I've been there. We've talked, think about it. So, this is no slight on you or me or anyone else. I just think it's funny. So people now talk about giants, right? And they do all the AI shit. Right, so there's giants and they go from 15 feet to thousands of cubits, which is miles high, is said, which is reported. I want to know, to you guys in the chat, are all giants vegans? Do they love just eat? Are they eating the grass? Are they herbivores? Or would you think some giants are meat eaters? So if giants were so big, what did they eat? Were the animals bigger? Was the oxygen canopy? And people will, you know, even giants, thanks to one of my subscribers, giant is Janice. So you can just say it, you know, we're told dinosaurs without things in the ground and the little arms and stuff, but I just see dinosaurs as big animals. You know, did these giants, were they did they eat meat? Would they need bigger meat? So, you know, we like to laugh at everything, but we just look at things, you know. And then people, that's a question. Universe to me means one song, but what is that one song? Is that source? Is that God? I really don't know. You know, was everything that bigger? Again, are these giants still there? Because last time I looked, I traced it years ago, not accurately, but I believe the emigrated of sorts. So the most giant sightings in the last 100 years were lastly in Patagonia and New Zealand way and outwards. It's like they were going out, they were buggering off, you know. So that's an idea for you guys. And again, that's why I talk about these exits and these caves. Are we just moving outwards? Are we just visiting other caves? People don't like to talk about Bigfoot, but is that just another species of, you know, hominid humans? Because there was supposed to be 7 or 9 species. If you believe in that, again, everything is subjective. Again, what you just said, Sasquatch giants, are they remnants? Are they offspring? Now, ancients talk about giant people coming from out the ground. So, you know, and it's hard when you're a content creator because you don't want to get tired of when you just copying their shit. And there's no harm in sharing people's information and evolving it and using your own. But, you know, that's why I try not watch anyone, because, oh, you've just copied them. You know, there's people who use my bloody videos and then say, can we have money? And it's my video. I didn't shut them down. I just said, listen, just give me a shout out. I'm not bothered what you do with it. I'll make money on it. You know, that's how I am. You know what? I like Francesca. I don't know if you've ever watched it. Yeah, he talks about giants. But off key, have you ever watched Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Killer or Hunter? I love that film. And again, I was just thinking on other things. You know, like the Predator films. Are they what the Sasquatch was? You know, have they got that technology cloak? I've saw. Oh, did you see that then? My power nearly went, so I'm going to call it a day because I don't want it to go. So come on, guys, I'll give everyone a shout out. My power's going. So yeah, are these giant? You know, I've saw articles of giant bugs, giant articles. Now, you know, the subspecies, and that's why I just talk about caves and chambers, because is there a giant species in their cave and they come over here? You know, that's what I just like to look at. So we have, I'm going to do Ocean Deep Wap the Woo or do Oceans. You know, I apologize for murdering your name. I'm positive you used to have another name. I'm positive. Catherine, Brian Gronen, soothsayer, talking about your thingy, experimental. Yeah, it's the weather's gone awful, really windy here too. And experimental is posh is in Glastonbury. What are you joking? So I saw all them programs. D'Angelo, Brooke. Again, people, you know, if you want your channels highlighted, I should have highlighted them before, but you can always leave them in the comments and people can follow you. So we have coincidence theorist. Brooke Bootle or Bootel, RM, soothsayer, Ryan, Catherine, Biscuit, Intuit, experimental, elemental. I'll get there at the end. Mr. Marmite. It's been a great chat, guys. You know, hopefully, you know, Sambino. Yeah, I've saw all those videos and topics. It fascinates me. You know, we've all been into, well, I'm assuming we've all been into giants. But yeah, I can do more lives and different things. You know, I've always, you know what I always used to look, I used to like getting guests on, and then people saying, oh, they're shills and gatekeepers, and I'm like, oh, I can't be asked with people. It's what, you know, I'd rather people just be honest but respectful. You know, in the end of the day, I've invited you into my home today, and everyone's been respectful. If you invited me in your home, I would be the same. But people are not like that, or like you guys. Can you imagine if the community was like what my chat is? Can you imagine how better it would be just talking and not taking the piss out? Well, you can take the piss out with you, because I like taking the piss out of myself and Sam. I'm always doing it, you know. But you know what I mean, a good way. Right, I'm going to call it a day. I've talked about nothing. I've been nearly, bloody hell, 2 hours and 14 minutes. Oh my God. I blame Sam and experimental, elemental, and Paper City Dolls. It's all your fault. It's all for keeping me talking. Yeah, but everyone loves talking about giants, don't they? And that's what I say to people. It's funny that giants, it comes from Janice's name, and Janice was a giant. It says so in a cathedral in Genoa that's named after him. The ocean's deep woo. There we go. You know, that's better. I can get that. So you know what, I can do one a month or one when I can. So I'm gonna go, guys. I want you to stay safe. Please, if you want your channels recommended next time, just put them in the comments. And people should follow each other. You know, I'm sick of seeing people with fake numbers. This community is nothing without you. It's that simple, you know. And please recommend other channels. I'll try and give them a follow and watch, you know, because I need it. So I'm gonna go, guys. I'm just reading the comments. People, so you know, it's so funny. Someone's turning in for the first time, and they're like, "Why is this guy just sitting there reading?" I don't get out much, and I like to take in as much as I can. So, as I always say, guys, stay safe. Always wear a smile, and don't let the bar stools grind us down. And give it a like, share, and subscribe. I know it's not much, but we really do need it. You know, if you don't like it, then don't share it. That's obvious. But you're here, so I appreciate it. Right? So commenting, because you're not letting me go. I'm going. I've moved it. I'm gonna press it. I'm gonna press it, and we're gone. Bye. Bye.